90 Day Fiancé's Brandon Gibbs reveals heartbreaking health update about dad amid loss of son. Brandon Gibbs from 90 Day, The Last Resort shared some painful news about his father Rob Gibbs' health, as he continues to grieve the loss of his son. Brandon from Virginia has been married to Russian woman Julia Trubkina since 2020. Julia did not enjoy living with Brandon's parents and decided to move out of his farm. However, Ron's health issues prevented the couple from moving away. Ron was diagnosed with cancer and was doing well, per his latest appearances on shows like 90 Day Diaries and The Last Resort Season 2. Brandon and Julia are grieving the loss of their dog Simba, who died from a stroke. As they cope, they're also facing a new challenge with Ron's health. Brandon's latest update about Ron is concerning. Brandon shared a photo of himself and Julia sitting with their other dog, Nella, on a park bench near a lake. He captioned it, "This year has really tested us and our families." Julia wrote, "We miss you Simba every day, praying for Dad to get better," in the caption, sparking curiosity about Ron's well-being. Brandon's follower at Hoagie12 commented, "Is Brandon's dad sick?" Brandon replied to them, "He just had a fall," with a disappointed face emoji. What Ron Gibbs' health update means. Brandon and Julia's relationship tested by family crisis. Brandon didn't share specific details about Ron's condition or how his fall happened. The couple is clearly going through a difficult time and may choose to open up more once Ron's health improves. Brandon and Julia's marriage has been marked by ongoing struggles, from clashes over her go-go dancing job in the US to trust issues after she cheated on him with an ex. Julia has also declined to have children with Brandon and applied for her parents' US visa without informing him. Adding further strain to their relationship, now Ron's health has become a new concern. During the Happily Ever After? Season 6 Tell All, Brandon shared that his father was battling an unexplained illness. Ron and Betty had asked Brandon and Julia to move back in, but Julia responded dismissively, saying, "This is life," which came across as insensitive given the seriousness of the situation. Later, the Gibbs family requested prayers for Ron's recovery, and fans have begun sending well wishes. With this added stress, Brandon and Julia's relationship faces yet another challenge. Our take on Brandon and Julia's latest family misfortune. Brandon and Julia have a tough road ahead. Brandon and Julia have turned to therapy to work through their challenges, and Brandon has come to accept Julia's decision not to have children. However, Julia is now dealing with undisclosed health concerns she's not yet ready to share. Financially, the couple is also struggling. Julia admitted it was hard to cover their vet bills. With these growing pressures, their healing process after losing Simba may be hindered. After 90 Day, The Last Resort, it remains to be seen how they will handle these mounting issues while striving to build a relationship free of trust issues and disagreements. 90 Day Fiancé. I'm concerned Brandon Gibbs is not getting what he needs from Julia Trubkina amid health issues and marriage troubles. Is Julia only focused on herself? I'm concerned that 90 Day Fiancé alum Brandon Gibbs is not getting the support he needs from his wife, Julia Trubkina, amid his recent health scare and their relationship pitfalls, leading me to believe Julia is only focused on herself. Brandon and Julia married in 90 Day Fiancé Season 8 in 2020. Since then, the pair have appeared on the Happily Ever After and 90 Day Diaries. Most recently, they put their marriage troubles on full display, as they are current cast members on 90 Day, The Last Resort Season 2, where they are joined by 5 other franchise couples. Brandon and Julia's original issues focused on Julia's need for independence from Brandon's parents, Ron and Betty Gibbs. They lived on Brandon's family farm, where Ron and Betty became very involved in their relationship. The pair were able to move out, and have since made several moves before settling in the Hampton Roads, Virginia, area. It was surprising to me to see Brandon and Julia on The Last Resort, as they paint a less problematic picture online. But I see that changing as Julia is falling short of what I see Brandon's needs are. Brandon and Julia have several marriage pitfalls, including a cheating revelation. Coming on to The Last Resort Season 2, Brandon and Julia outlined their disconnect over wanting to have a child. Julia was against it, and it was Brandon's dream. Julia revealed she got a diagnosis from a doctor in Russia that it would be very hard for her to conceive. However, knowing how much a baby means to Brandon, Julia agreed to get a second opinion from a US doctor. The problem I have with Julia here is that having a child is not something she wants, and I don't see her compromising even if she gets a better bill of health. The other major marriage turmoil Brandon and Julia encountered was Julia admitting that she cheated on Brandon with her ex-boyfriend early on in their relationship back in Russia. Brandon felt blindsided by the admission and felt betrayed by Julia, who wanted Brandon to forgive her since it was long ago. I think Julia doesn't realize how badly that revelation hurt Brandon, and contributed to his overall anxiety and unease in their marriage. Julia also had criticism for Brandon's parents, and how they allegedly didn't care about her side of things in her conflicts with Brandon. I thought Julia's words were hurtful considering how much Ron and Betty have helped her out. Moreover, Julia made another surprise announcement that betrayed Brandon's trust when she said she applied for her parents to get an American visa behind his back. Their arrival means they will be staying with Brandon and Julia, so I believe she only has her interests at heart. To me, Julia acts on her own volition without consideration of Brandon. Between her ignoring Brandon's disdain for her skimpy outfits to her many secrets with consequences, I think she is shady, and has demonstrated she is flippant about Brandon's well-being or say in their marriage. Brandon's anxiety landed him in the hospital. He's taken to physical fitness to help. In January 2025, Julia gave an interview in which she relayed that Brandon had a panic attack that subsequently sent him to the hospital. Brandon clearly has fragile mental health, and I don't think Julia caters to that. I feel if she did, she would not put his mental health out for the public to hear about, and she would offer more help and stop delivering blow after blow to him. It seems to me like Brandon has been dealing with his anxiety on his own, and he is trying to overcome his condition himself. Brandon has been hitting exercise and fitness milestones that seem to be helping him, and all I've seen Julia do is like his posts. Brandon is in a delicate state, and I see Julia only putting him on blast, not supporting him. Julia isn't supporting Brandon like she should. She is too focused on herself. Julia has also irked me with her inability to take care of Brandon when he needs her because she is launching a dog subscription box and training business instead of adding Brandon to the business and securing both of their futures. Julia is only caring about her own. 90-Day Fiancé's Brandon was stunned by Julia's several blindsides, and it seemingly caused him to have a hospitalization due to panic. I am concerned about Brandon in his marriage to Julia, because Julia only appears to care about herself while Brandon is in a tough spot. 90-Day Fiancé, Brandon Gibbs' health issues explained. Julia Trubkina gave an update on how he's doing now. 90-Day, the last resort star Brandon Gibbs had been dealing with a secret health condition that landed him in hospital and no one knew about it. Brandon and Julia first appeared in 90-Day Fiancé Season 8. The couple had met when Brandon's friend saw Russian woman Julia dancing at a club in South Korea and made Brandon speak to her over a video call. Julia came to the US after getting engaged to Brandon and immediately took a dislike to her new lifestyle where Julia had to stay on a farm with Brandon's parents and tend to farm animals. While Julia reluctantly adjusted to her new role as a daughter-in-law and saw how close Brandon was to his mother and father, she also faced challenges while getting a job in America. Despite being multi-talented, Julia tried her hand at everything from modeling to stand-up comedy and faced backlash from Brandon when she decided to resume go-go dancing. Julia also didn't want to have kids and claimed it was because a Russian doctor had told her she would never become a mom. The cracks grew between Brandon and Julia amid them keeping secret upon secret from fans. Brandon's heart had almost stopped. Julia revealed details about why Brandon was in hospital. In January 2025, Julia was interviewed by Parade where she shared some unknown details about her life with Brandon. While both Brandon and Julia are quite active on social media, the interview confirmed that they don't share everything that happens in their lives on Instagram. They could be posting funny reels, but in reality, they could also be dealing with relationship or even health problems. The couple had been away from cameras since their appearance on 90 Day Diaries in January 2024. Most of their issues came to surface on The Last Resort, a year later. Everybody see us in social media like bubbly, happy, but people doesn't know what happened behind the camera. Julia revealed that amid everything else the couple was dealing with, including Julia's reluctance to get pregnant or her insisting on bringing her parents to the US, they also had to cope with Brandon's severe anxiety. At one point, Brandon's anxiety got so serious that he had to be taken to the hospital. Julia spoke about how she had never met someone as innocent as Brandon, but despite his calm exterior on screen, he had a big level of anxiety due to which he was hospitalized. His heart, almost like stopped basically. Julia revealed the incident took place while they were filming the 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After? Tell all. Julia teared up as she recalled the bad memory. Julia also confessed that she never knew how to react to what was happening to Brandon since she had never experienced it before. Julia spoke about Jasmine taunting Brandon by saying he had the personality of a fart, which meant that no one wanted to be around the Virginia man. The first time Jasmine said, "Oh, he got personality like fart. I mean, like Jasmine, you will be regret when you know what happened," Julia mentioned regarding her husband's anxiety condition. Brandon has found a cure for his stress. Brandon is sweating it out at the gym. In March 2025, Brandon shared several Instagram stories, showcasing an impressive health update by posting a video of himself at the gym. The clip featured Brandon climbing a rope, looking significantly healthier and more agile compared to a few months ago. The 90 Day, The Last Resort cast member seemed happy and excited about his progress. Brandon's friend and fitness trainer, Antoine Britt, also posted a video highlighting Brandon's physical achievements, with Brandon commenting, "The best workouts with you." While Julia didn't leave a comment, she did like the video. Brandon is working on his revenge body. What is Brandon seeking revenge for? Brandon has continued working out with the same trainer and makes sure to post about his fitness journey regularly on social media. Some of these are joint posts he makes in collaboration with the fitness instructor, Antoine. Brandon uses voiceovers to motivate himself. In one such video posted by Brandon, the voiceover announces the secret to staying motivated at the gym by mentioning going through a toxic situationship, getting attached and heartbroken, and using that pain to achieve a revenge body. The mention of Brandon wanting a revenge body came across as a red flag. Brandon received questions from his followers asking if he was still together with Julia. Why else would he have wanted a revenge body otherwise? Brandon did not choose to reply to his curious fans. He is still under contract and his storyline on The Last Resort keeps getting better. It wouldn't be wise for Brandon to reveal if he is still together with Julia. However, the couple have been revealing clues that could help fans piece the pieces of the puzzle together. Julia and Brandon are still together, and the voiceover could have been something the instructor chose. Is Brandon still under stress in his marriage? Are Brandon and Julia happy together? Brandon still wears his wedding ring. Meanwhile, Julia also works out in the same fitness center with the same trainer. Julia has also been sharing videos from her workout sessions with Antoine. The couple will choose to play mind games with fans until the show confirms their relationship status. Brandon seems to have discovered that the key to having a healthy mind is having a healthy body. A healthy body can contribute to a healthier, more stable mind. Regular physical activity could help Brandon reduce stress and improve his mood, and in turn, help him calm down. Julia and Brandon are both committed to working things out between them to avoid divorce. Brandon is overly attached to his parents, but he is also devoted to Julia as a husband. Even though Julia cheated on Brandon, he chose to stay with her. Their disagreements may have finally been resolved when they got done filming 90 Day, The Last Resort. There was the question of whether Brandon would make peace with Julia, bringing her parents to America, but it appears he may have agreed to it as well amid Julia agreeing to a second opinion about having a baby. 90 Day Fiancé's Julia reveals if she's still together with Brandon after painful death of son. Julia Trubkina is revealing the current status of her relationship with Brandon Gibbs ahead of the 90-day Fiancé, Happily Ever After? Season 9 premiere. Julia is from Russia and has been living in the US since 2020. Julia married Brandon in 90-Day Fiancé Season 8 and detested living with his parents on their farm. It wasn't the only issue in Brandon and Julia's marriage, as later revealed on The Last Resort during couples therapy. Brandon wanted a baby while Julia didn't. He also hadn't forgiven Julia for cheating on him before they married. He refused to let Julia bring her parents to the US. Brandon still seemed unhappy despite therapy, leading to them becoming a part of 90-Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After? Season 9. Julia and Brandon faced several rough patches even after completing therapy, and Simba's death seemed to have driven them further apart, but Julia's latest update seems positive. Julia shared a selfie on Instagram of her seated in the passenger's seat and wishing her followers a happy 4th of July. Julia's eyes looked like they were welling up with tears, but she maintained a strong front as she posed for the picture. It appears Julia was inside her car with Brandon driving them to meet their friends. In her next story, Julia shared a picture of her and Brandon with a couple of their friends. Julia only tagged Brandon in the story and not the friends. However, she wrote that this was her first time witnessing fireworks on the 4th of July. She added that her friends were insisting she go, and Julia couldn't say no. Brandon appeared happy and smiling in the picture.